Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and friends and family. Because tonight I have brought in my brother who hasn't been on the show in quite some time. I think the last time we hung out might have been the Game of the Year show in January. So it's been a while. He's going to shake off the rust, and we're going to introduce him first. Neo Mental, how the hell are you, brother? And welcome to tonight's program.
Thank you, good sir. I am fine. I am a bit rushed as you just hit me at the last minute.
Of course. That's what brothers do. That's what we do.
Nah. Well, I'm glad to be here. Shout out to everybody. I always see you guys watching the show, so it's nice to be on with you guys. It's going to be a good time.
Well, thanks for being here, brother. Definitely appreciate that, and we're going to get your opinion on everything that's popping right now, so to speak. But let's introduce first Kay Asante. You and of course Everborn Saga put on two amazing shows every week. I got a chance to hang out with you. I got to definitely get back there on a Saturday morning, just pop myself in there like Mephisto pop in, pop out. And,
don't start that. Come on now.
But then, again, it wouldn't be a show without Mr. Slander. But Kay Asante, please do your introduction. How the heck are you, man? And what you been up to?
What's going on, everybody? Oh, I'm having such a great day. Today's been a pretty good day for me, and finish it off with this great show. Neo, it's great to have you on the show, man. We've been chatting from time to time. I see you on the Twitter streets. It'll be cool podcasting with you as well as the rest of the panel. This is going to be an interesting show because I have a feeling that some hot takes about to happen. Let's get started.
Oh, yeah. A hot take. Folks, listen, we have almost 100 people here already, which is pretty dope considering this is a small show. But I do have to say, folks, this is going to be a show for the record books. And the reason why I say that is because we have a lot to get into. I had written a whole show with 4 topics, and like a good host, I'm calling an audible. And of course, the gameplay you see in front of you is with the new update. I am a graphics whore, if you didn't already know. So this is the 30 frames per second version with all the added bonuses. It is being played in 1080p because that is what this stream allows. I do not do. The service that I use allows 1080p. That's what it's streaming. So hopefully you enjoy the footage. And of course, on the back end of the show, you're going to get some more Ascent because why not? It's my Game of the Year 2021. But Everborn Saga, you had some really interesting things to say in the green room, and I hope, because you have such a sharp tack memory, that you can remember to say these things because, quite frankly, they were tantalizing. How the heck are you, bro? Welcome.
I'm all right. Am I supposed to be talking about all this jealousy that we saw today? Or
well, I mean, we are going to get into that momentarily. The jealousy, the hate, and all they did was just give us an update for free. But we're going to get into that momentarily. So just, what you been up to?
I've been good. But before I start, I just want to say, everybody, we got almost 100 people in here. Can we get a couple of more likes, please?
Thank you. We
would appreciate it. It helps the show a lot. So I thank you in advance for your for your generosity in terms of the free thumbs up. Now, I'm good. I'm ready to get into all of these topics. This is going to be a fun one. And like I said, man, before we start, I just want to quote Cameron, "You mad, doggy? You mad?
Not after last week."
Oh man, well, this is gonna be one of those shows. Okay.
Oh my goodness! Listen, it is funny that I know what you're talking about, and I think my brother understands that. But let's get to, of course, Tempest's son. Tempest, welcome back, brother. And are you currently podcasting from a mech suit that you built right along next to your models?
Absolutely. Every show I do from a mobile suit, and I'm capping fools left and right between my takes. So
nice. I love it.
Yeah, no, good to be back, guys. Interesting topics, a lot going on. It was another good day for Xbox news in general, even though a lot of people don't want to admit it.
We're gonna get into it
right now. You know what?
Don't do that. Don't say that.
Okay. All right.
That's too real.
No. We'll get to it. Be the slanderer that you are known to be, much like Bobby Heenan was. You know he was going to do something nefarious when he was in the side of the ring. Be Mr. Slander and come out and beat someone over the head with a chair and then distract the referee at the same time. But speaking of Vikings and potentially wrestlers that are Vikings, the Wandering Dutch, man, how the heck are you? And I know as a fan of Ninja Theory, as a fan, of course, of Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, which you see playing in front of you, you're going to have a lot to say. And it was an exciting day for these fans that looked forward to this free update that we got. And somehow all of the positive was turned on its ear to negative, and we're going to straighten that shit out tonight. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good, actually, really good. And to everybody who's missing Mag, I'm going to bring up the loudness tonight as well.
Let's go.
I love it. Yeah.
But other than that, no, awesome, absolutely awesome. I'm really completely out the blue as well, seeing an update to Hellblade before we get Senua Saga later on in the generation. Absolutely amazing game. I've got the game on literally every platform. I bought it on PlayStation first when it originally launched on PlayStation. Then I got it on Xbox. Then I got it on Switch. And then eventually I got it on PC. So I own it in every possible area. Love the game. The only one I actually haven't beat it on so far is Xbox. So it's a good chance to go back and play through it on.
Well, I mean, again,
beat it on the rest.
Yeah, you're going to get that chance because obviously I think I'm only missing one achievement. I did not find all of the gifts, the glyphs, I should say, or I'm missing 4. I actually was missing 5. I found one today in my third or whatever playthrough this is for me because I've played this through to completion multiple times as well. But listen, folks, if you were not obviously real life folks, there's real world stuff going on. The pandemic is still a thing. If you were handling your business and you were not on the Twitters, as the kids are calling them today, the big hubbub, which is why I called an audible, is we got an announcement from Ninja Theory, and why it was interesting and why it was fun was that they announced that they were giving the Xbox players who have Xbox Series X and S consoles a free update, a Series X and S update. And according to what they have, again, I'm reading verbatim from the official Twitter account, this is supposed to be a celebration, folks. This is supposed to be an older game that a lot of people didn't get a chance to play through or even play at all. And we get a chance to experience it. And I say we because I'm playing through it again. I did some footage and I'm going to play it after this again because I'm once again addicted to the game because I love the story. I tried it with the new headphones, the Xbox headphones, and my God, it is an unbelievably different experience from listening to it through the TV speakers and actually listening to the game on with headphones. Now, it does not just specifically the Xbox ones. Put any headphones on, you will see what I am talking about. But this is what they announced: ray tracing on both the Series X and S, up to 4K resolution, up to 120 frames per second, updated materials, particles, and details, and also a chapter select. Now, this comes to us the way of what Microsoft is known for. They give us these free updates on older games. We've seen it with Gears. We've seen it with Forza. You just name a first-party game, it's in there, especially with a lot of the Bethesda stuff. When that deal was made, we got all these updates for all of these games. But, of course, there was a subset of people on the interwebs who always seem to be the ones to rebel rouse, if you will.
The boo birds.
Well, yeah, the boo birds. I mean, that's a good way to put it. And I you know what? It's funny how almost every time you say something positive about Xbox, someone, and folks, we know who they are. And I'm not going to mention names because I don't do that on this program. But you know who these people are. And they come in and they try to ruin everyone's fun with negativity. Now, of course, if the shoe was on the other foot, it would be ticker tape parade down Broadway, right? But I want to go first to Kay Asante, because Kay Asante, you and I were having a magnificent conversation about this. Xbox players get this free update. Now, I understand that there's a lot of debate with what is this considered to, like, the director's cuts that Sony is charging their gamers to buy again. And this is not a director's cut. This is basically a free upgrade, giving you next gen, allowing your next gen hardware to be used at the best way possible. You're a tech guy. You understand what's going on here. They're not selling you this as a director's cut. They're saying, hey, if you own the game and if you don't even own the game and it's just in Game Pass, you can go and download it right now. And you know what? You can enjoy your new console even more. Why is there so much hate towards what happened today? And how come people are trying to downplay something that's supposed to be, make people excited and ruin it for everyone?
Yeah. This is just par for the course at this point. We every time something like this rolls around, we always tend to see the same thing. I'll call it now. When Psychonauts 2 comes out, we will see the same thing as well. We keep seeing these things happening because obviously people are in their feelings. They're loading their guns for the console war, and all of a sudden this doesn't conform to that idea, that mental idea that this is ours versus this is theirs. I don't understand, and I've heard people talking about, well, this is why we should want PlayStation paid updates because they're quote unquote more substantial. Absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. This is part and parcel of how updates should be done. On PC, updates like this are done all the time.
Yes, standard fare.
Standard fare. You got a Steam account. New assets are available. Go download the 4K pack, or go download whichever assets become available to you. You have new hardware, same game is available. Now you can use those assets that then show off the hardware and let you use more of the hardware resources. There's nothing special or untoward about all this. As Microsoft is wont to do now, they've taken that strategic step that it is in their best interest to give folks the free stuff because it's not worth the ultimate payment, right? This will just be nickel and diming a few dollars here and there, but the PR they get for, once again, offering free value for your dollar, that seems to transcend any of the monetary value they'll gain. I'll let Everborn hypothesize and go further into the reasons why people choose now, because I think he has a very, very good point. So
he does.
I will let him have that point. But to me, I say, we talk about this and we should talk about it, but I honestly think that we shouldn't give it the energy, too much more energy than it deserves, because this is just, the more energy you give it, then those on the other side who are trying to, lace up for bear with their console war stuff, it's the same kind of energy, and it's not even worth all of that. Have there been instances where they've charged you for updates? Yes. Believe it or not, if you don't have a Game Pass, you're paying for Hivebusters and a few of those others, right? And they came with substantial updates, just like this. I've heard people saying, well, what about the 4K 60 with ray tracing? For those who don't understand the ins and outs of it, for Spider-Man Miles Morales and for Ratchet and Clank, who did get the 4K 60 with ray tracing, that 4K 60, the ray tracing is a quarter resolution ray trace, meaning it's not the normal high native resolution that you see with real ray tracing. And that's why when you watch those technical videos, they compare it to PC and you see that the console one is super blurry. It's a choice they make. They could have made that choice here. They choose not to make that choice. Instead, they go, we'll give you, real ray tracing at 30 frames per second, and you'll get your performance at 60, and we won't give you that, pseudo. It's not pseudo. It's just, resolved to less resolution in order for it to take up resources. These are all just choices that people make with the resources they have. you know. And the fact that people are out there capping and yelling and this and that, and that's why PlayStation's better and this and that, it just shows how foolish you are when you make these arguments. It's highly unnecessary. And the only thing anybody should say about this, hey, we got a new update, it's free. Thank you. Let's play it again, shall we? That's it. That's all that should be said about this. I will move on, and I will pass the mic, because I don't think this conversation is worth any more than that, because those people making it more than that don't deserve that. We don't deserve to give them the energy that they're trying to get from us. In my opinion.
It's funny because what you're able to do, first of all, options, from what I understand, maybe I'm looking out from a blurry window. Options are good. In fact, options are great. And what Ninja Theory did here is give everyone who has a specific play style the ability to play the game how they want to play the game, whether it be performance, whether it be with ray tracing, whether it be with the best graphics available at 30 frames, which is how I play. Because this is a type of game that doesn't need, again, in my personal opinion, I don't need 60 frames for this, because this game is a story-driven, over-the-shoulder type of game where their action is limited. It's not an action fest. All right, you do have some instances, which you just saw me fighting a boss. That happens from tick to tick. It's not every 5 minutes. So I'm okay with 30 frames, but that's how I like to play. You can play however you want to play, but let's get to the slanderous aspect of this. Everborn Saga, let's bring you in on the conversation. You had some very interesting things to say, and I refuse to take any of that credit. Please, my friend, explain why there are certain subsect of gamers that are upset by this update.
Okay, so a couple of things. Firstly, I say let him talk, right? Let him have anybody who's for some weird reason upset about this update, right? This is not like Xbox fans versus PlayStation fans. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who have found a reason to be upset. Let them cry. I enjoy watching it. Let them complain, right? Listen, at the end of the day, you could take out Hellblade and replace it with Psychonauts. You could all of this is variable. What this all boils down to is PlayStation good, Xbox bad. And really what this comes down to is the people complaining about this are the people who didn't get the update on PlayStation.
That's what this probably not going to get it.
This is all what it came down to.
Yeah.
And what do I use as evidence to say that? Where was this smoke for Plague's Tale? That update came out a couple of weeks ago. You didn't see any of this. You know why that is? Because everybody got the update. It has nothing to do with, the reflections aren't here or there or whatever it is. They are upset that they did not get the update because they are used to getting everything. Right? You saw them do this when they heard about Psychonauts 2, like I said a second ago, when that will have a next-gen version on the Xbox, but not the PlayStation. And that's all it comes back to. You can hot swap out the scenario. They are going to be saying things like this exactly again when it comes up again. So I will always come back to say, there is no amount of people crying and having their therapy sessions of hate that can stop you from enjoying the game. You know why? Because you got the update. And again, I knew that this was going to happen. Why? Because some people have posted a flag into the ground, and they have defended the $10 asshole tax that is the Ghost of Tsushima update. And so now when they see an update from who they perceive as their competition, I don't know why, they now have to go and say that this isn't worth the $10 that they were just asshole tax that they were just happy to pay, right? Because this drives the point home further that $10 that they paid for next gen lip syncing tech was not actually worth it. Right? We're not talking about the $20 content update. We are talking about the $10 PlayStation asshole tax. And because they said they were happy to say this, this threatens that idea, and so they cannot have it. And that is everything that this can be boiled down to. And I agree with Kay, they do not deserve too much attention on this. But like I said, I drink the tears of jealousy, and they are good. So
they're tasty. I asked you privately, and I'll ask you publicly. How do those tears taste, sir? Would you say scrumptious? Because I'm thinking scrumptious.
Very nice. It's very nice. It's refreshing.
Let's bring in the Wandering Dutch. Dutch, obviously you have been a stout fan of Ninja Theory as a team. You're very excited for Senua's saga, which is coming out potentially at the end of holiday next year, or potentially, maybe even 2023. That first quarter is what we're thinking. Again, they haven't confirmed anything that could surprise us, and it could be out in the middle of next year. We don't know. But seeing this update, this is supposed to get people excited because, again, Everborn didn't mention it, so I'll mention it for him. He has yet to play the game, right? Like
that is true.
He has, and what did I tell you? What did I tell you in the private DM? I'm actually quite jealous because I played through this already multiple times. I bought it on the PlayStation 4 when it first launched, because obviously it's a single player game. It's an over shoulder story driven stuff. I love Ninja Theory, so I was all in day one. I bought it when it came to the before Game Pass. I bought it, and of course I have it on my hard drive, and I just moved it over because of the update to my Series X this morning, so I could record some footage. Where do you fall with some of the knucklehead nonsense that are going on? And again, I won't mention people by name because we don't do that on this program, but there is a particular person that is really pretending like he don't know, and it's a lot of smoke and mirrors going out in these Twitter streets. Why can't people just be happy? Is everyone on to something?
And how do the sodium-filled tears taste?
I don't like salt. I don't put salt on anything, so I don't like it. I'm gonna save that drink and pass it over to you. Dutch, what are your thoughts on what's going on with this?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned before, I own it on literally every platform going. Absolutely love the game, so much so that I built and created, along with Sean Labrie, a Series X Hellblade Senua Saga console.
Glorious.
And controller to go with it. So I absolutely love the game itself. I just love everything about it. I love the story behind it. I love the way, for an indie team at the time, they went to do such incredible 3D audio work that kind of directly interacted with the way you played the game.
Did you say 3D audio? That thing that comes for free with the game? Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely free.
Please continue.
Yeah, thank you.
3D audio. Huh.
Yeah. Amazing. And now we get this awesome next generation optimized version again for free, and it is currently sitting as the best way to play this game on any platform. The PC version of this next gen is still under development. So as it stands, this is the premier way to play this game on any platform. And for those, as Boom mentioned before, for those who have not yet experienced it, I am also jealous of you experiencing it for the first time in the way that it's now being showcased.
Yeah,
I'm actually not very excited about it because it doesn't have the lip syncing, and without that,
okay, yeah. I can see
I'll
next
provide you the Wandering Dutch lip syncing version.
Okay, good, yeah, because it takes you out of the whole thing if the lip syncing's not there.
But on to your point though, Boom. I've seen a lot of it, and a lot of them just again I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. Why they've been kind of brainwashed into.
You do.
I do and I don't. There is some people that are extremely naive, and there's some people that are doing it to troll. You can see a mile off those that are doing it to troll. but there's also those unfortunate, naive people who have been, should we say, brainwashed by those people that troll all the time, or take everything that these trolls say as gospel or as fact. And they're the people that are the trolls know what they're doing, so they know exactly when they're wrong or when they're right, and they know why they say what they say. But the people that are listening to them don't. And the problem you've got there is that these people then become absolutely impossible to educate correctly on the subject. So when you're talking to them about free update and what you're getting with what you're paying for or not paying for in this instance, again, as Asante was mentioning, this is a full hardware ray tracing. This isn't half-arsed. This is the full ray tracing at 30 frames, up to 60, up to dynamic 4K. Sorry, up to 30 dynamic 4K. So, and improved quality textures, and higher resolution textures, and increased effects, and increased particles. So it's not just one or two or some. It's everything has been completely boosted from the ground up. If you read the article from Ninja Theory, because a lot of people wouldn't have done that in the first place.
Yeah, it's on Xbox Wire if you're interested.
Yep.
I'll put it in the show notes so you can go check it out if you want to.
It's they literally, when they asked them about the upgrade itself, they said, so what is new with the game? They said, well, first thing that we did was pushed it to the highest. We literally put the sliders up to the highest possible settings we could do on PC and went from there. So then we started optimizing forward. So then we started increasing things. So, right, this is the best we've currently got. So what else can we do? So, okay, we'll bump up the resolution of the textures. We'll bump up the texture fidelity. We'll bump up the performance. We'll add the ray tracing, full ray tracing to the game. We'll add additional particle effects that were never in the game in the first place. We'll add additional post-processing effects that were never in the game in the first place. So they've done some extensive work to get this game up a notch. Not only that, but then they've added, and I'm sure somebody mentioned there's a 120 hertz mode as well, which is just obscene. As well as a 60 hertz kind of, again, improved visuals without RT mode. So, I mean, it's the problem we've got, as Everborn Saga's mentioned, is and kind of Kiyosante and quite a few others now. It's a certain subsect of people that know exactly what they're doing with these trolling things on Twitter. They know exactly what is being implemented and why it's such a great free update. But they choose to spin a yarn so that these other poor souls that are less educated on the subject kind of fall for this bait. And then you get these console wars that just keep going round in circles. Personally, hats off. It's an amazing free update. Yeah. I'm absolutely jealous of those that are experiencing it for the first time. Again, I've got it on in the background waiting to play again. It's.
And a quick aside from me, just one thing I forgot to add real quick. Again, this is not a next-gen game. Yes, it has the logo on it.
It's 4 years old.
It is literally a cross-gen game. So if you see this and you see, oh, how come this new next-gen console can't do ray tracing at 60 frames a second? It's because they would have to re-engineer this game from the ground up in order to use velocity, in order to use all of the various new features that would then allow for that to happen. They're not doing that.
You're using too much logic.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm just letting people know.
Okay, let me simplify that for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Death's Door, The Ascent, Flight Sim, and now this. Those are in one place, and a lot of people finished Ratchet and Clank, and so there's nothing else to talk about but this. And that's what it comes down to.
No, I mean, listen,
it's only gonna. You've got a really good. I was going to say before Boom interjects a very good point, and it's only going to get worse as the rest of the year goes on because there is nothing else outside of one particular game, which we'll be speaking about in a little bit, that is coming out for that platform until year end.
Yes, that is correct.
You know, in the gangster movies when they say you're only alive because I allow it. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
Oh man, I would expect no less. That is great. You know what? Let's bring in my brother Neo Mental. Obviously, Neo, you got. I reached out to you relatively late, barely gave it a chance to catch up with what's going on. But I picked you second to last, so you can hear everyone and get familiarized with what with the hot topics. Because obviously, you turn off Twitter when you're working because obviously you're working. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? If people don't know, back in the days, Pops, as my dad was known, used to call him the professor because he was amazing at games when we were kids. I mean, and he still is. His skill level is just through the roof. He just had a birthday, so I don't know. He might have lost a step or two. We'll see.
Man, listen.
But anyway, I mean, getting back to the nonsense. This is a game, like everyone has already alluded. It's 4 years old. It's a 4-year-old game that is seeing a significant amount of upgrades to take advantage of the Xbox Series X, but also the Xbox Series S. Not leaving anyone behind if you bought a new console, which is awesome. Why can't people just be excited for this? Now, is everyone onto something with the fact that maybe because PlayStation 5 is not going to get this update? And I don't blame them. I mean, honestly, I understand the game is out for the PlayStation 4, but they are now first party. And when this game launched, they were not. They were an independent developer. And doing it for Microsoft, they pay the bill. So there's no reason why they have to do it for Sony. And quite frankly, that's just, that's business. What are your thoughts on all of the nonsense going on whether or not this, the slander that's happening? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, yeah, he's right. Second of all, how much time do I have? I mean, look.
Dude, take as much time as you want. This conversational podcast. Go crazy.
Listen, issue number one is everyone on Twitter is doing this shenanigans for likes. Everything is likes, okay? It's like a bully. He wants to do what he wants to do because he wants attention. You know what I'm saying? It's like you look at these guys, everyone is all hyped up about how Microsoft doesn't have games and all of this. It's all BS. You know what I'm saying? First of all, you got 10 million units that you just sold, right? But your games aren't cracking these huge numbers. Well, why? What's the issue? I mean, listen, if you go on Instagram or other social networks and you look at everyone's got a PlayStation 5. I see girls with OnlyFans with a PlayStation 5. She's not playing it for the game. She's using it as a Blu-ray player. Like, what are you doing? So the issue with a lot of people on Twitter is that it's the narrative that people want to push. If the narrative wasn't popular anymore, everyone would be in love with Microsoft. Today, Microsoft could drop the Xbox. They could cancel it, shut it down, and still be good. Still be good. If Sony did it, Sony's out of business. I mean, you can look at their financials. They need this to go because their music division's going down. They've even said it. Their revenues are down because they're paying more for publishing now. So your semiconductor part is doing pretty well, but now with the chip shortage, you're taking a hit there too. So where is it? The movies, you're spending more money on that too. So what do you have besides PlayStation that keeps the lights on? Nothing. That's why you get these games with these expansions that they have to charge you. They have to wring you dry for everything you own because they got to keep that money coming in. Every quarter, the money has to go up. Microsoft doesn't have to do that. Microsoft's like, hey, we got this Game Pass thing. It's amazing. Let's keep pushing into it. I mean, look at this game. I mean, now, first of all, I've never played it. So this is going to be amazing that I get to play this from scratch. I can't wait.
Oh, man.
You know, this is awesome. I never.
We got to compare notes after.
Hey, listen, I'm here for it. You know, and it's free, so it's like that's amazing. Now, look at No Man's Sky. Today was their 5th anniversary. That game came out. There's not one bit of paid DLC for it, and the game is amazing. I play it constantly. That means that these guys are putting in their own time, because if you have to do something like this, somebody has to sit there and program it.
Yeah,
that's time, regardless of money. That's time. If these companies can do that and give it to you, that's a bonus. Why do you care that I'm out there playing with my ball? Go get your own ball. Why are you complaining about my fun? I'm
You
having
said
fun.
they don't got no balls? I mean, damn. First you said they had OnlyFans. Listen, hold on. Just one question. One question. Where is the Sunset Overdrive next gen patch? We didn't get that. So I don't know that I feel bad for anybody who didn't get this next. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they have no balls, and they're complaining about me because I'm over here with my ball and I'm having a great time. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand. I don't understand what the issue is. Like I said, again, it's all for clicks and likes. This is coming out. It's free. It looks amazing. That's a win. But everyone wants to have to be negative and say, oh, well, your ball has got old and it's got a patch. Listen, it goes in the hoop. I'm having a good time. Why can't you get a ball just like it and enjoy it? I got a PlayStation. It's collecting dust. It's right there, though. I just bought an extra controller. I got an extreme rate, so I got triggers on the back, so I modded it, but I'm still not playing it. I bought Ratchet and Clank. It's sitting there. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about that. Not that it's not a good system. If you want to be a PlayStation fan, go ahead and be a PlayStation fan, but do not complain to me because I'm playing my box. I got all these great games, and I'm having a great time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I could have said it any better myself, to be honest with you, which is why I'm glad you were here today. I want to bring Tempest Sun in on the question. Tempest, one of the complaints, quote unquote, complaints I saw with this was, what's the big deal that this, they did this update? It's not that big. It's not that big of a deal anyway. Well, folks, here's the thing. The last time I checked, and I haven't checked in a while, I know they've been hiring everywhere across on all 23 studios. They have like 43 people at Ninja Theory. Now, could they have more? Probably. I would dare say they have 60 people. Wow. Well, that 60-person team not only brought you this update for the price of free, they're building Hellblade 2. They're also doing Project Mara, which is a horror game. And there's another project that they're working on that they have announced, an unannounced project. How much do you want from this team? And the fact that they were able to bring this to us for the price of free once again is another talking point. Where do you sit with all of this, Tempest?
At this point, I am not shocked in the slightest that a Xbox studio did this for its fans. I don't know if anybody was asking for it. I don't think so. I think everybody's mainly just looking for Hellblade 2, but they did this thing anyways, and it is for free. I expect all of these are going to be for free. It's I always think about Microsoft as a whole, and being an Xbox fan, there's a lot of people out there that almost would think of Microsoft as like the money hungry, one of the richest companies in the world, money hungry, would do anything for a buck, that type of thing. Instead, thankfully, the leaders that we have there, like Satya Nadella, Phil Spencer, especially Phil Spencer now that he's like the right hand of Satya Nadella. It's they're using their funds and their money to get ahead, but they're really are putting the gamer first. It sounds like such a cheap tagline that they say, but it isn't cheap when they do this stuff. This is what they have consistently been doing for a while now. As a matter of fact, it's no secret that Sony kicked Microsoft's ass this last gen, right?
Yeah, 100%. No one would even deny that.
Yeah, and even with the lack of games, the pro-consumer moves, I think Microsoft has been making since way far back as like 2000, like mid 2018, 2019, they started doing really, really good things that did put the gamer first. And if you just pay attention a little bit, especially if you have both systems, you just see it, you feel it. The sting of no exclusives did hurt. It continues to hurt a little bit. Not now, because we just got a bunch of indies and exclusive games, games that people absolutely adore, like U-Boom with the Ascent, a lot of people with Death's Door.
56 hours later.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you bought it or not. It doesn't matter. They got their funding. A lot of people bought the game, everything, and that's in Game Pass. So right now, from here on out, we're not going to be starved for games at all.
No.
But as somebody who owned a PS4, a Switch, a decent PC, and Microsoft's console, I tell you what, like in my opinion, it feels like they've been winning for months now,
dude. Yeah,
for months, and
it's
to the point now where like I feel like I feel I guess I don't know if it's gonna be controversial or not, but like I feel like they're so far ahead and the future is so bright for this brand that it's almost silly to not think that they won't, in a lot of metrics, be in first place. Like they will eventually end up making the most money. They will have the most games. They will have the most places to play their games. I mean, any like category you can think of, they're going to have it. If I were to have a Switch only, how am I going to get my RTS fix? I'm not. You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to have a pretty soon, like a PS5, like I have to sit here and think, what Western RPG series are they going to have? I don't really know. Are they going to have one? Xbox needs a JRPG. They need that for me because I absolutely adore JRPGs. But anyway, I know I went like off the rails here. This is no surprise to me that they did this, and I'm a little bit like not disgusted because people can like what they want to like. Some people like the DCEU movies over the Marvel movies, which is just, like the wrong opinion, but they can have it. You know what I mean?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it was good. That was good. Yeah.
No, Suicide Squad was great. Unfortunately, it didn't make a lot of money in the theaters, but that's because people aren't going to the theaters. But that's a topic for the real.
Tune in Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the real, where we will be discussing that.
Yes.
Yep. So,
Nice.
so anyway, I just that's where I'm at with this thing. I see people combating this stuff, and okay, I'll be honest with you. On paper, without any comparison shots, without anything at all, right? I'm so sorry. Hold on. All right, sorry about that.
Even if the ones that said,
My wife's not helping me out at the moment. Anyway, I without any comparison shots or anything, the specs on paper, purely on paper, and you see the XS label on there. I'll be honest with you, it might be a little disappointing, but that's without any context of what the game looks like prior, what it was running like on the last series of consoles.
Yes.
I did some digging on how it is running now, how it looks, comparison shots, and the specs are like that for a reason. The game is still absolutely phenomenally gorgeous. Before it capped out at near 60 frames per second at like 1080p. Now it's like around 1080p or higher, and it's like 120 frames a second. So it's just a completely different ball game now. So it's a great update and it's free. And I honestly can't get over how awesome Microsoft is to its fan base. So
Yeah.
Hey, Tempest, I heard your puppy. So
here we go.
Here we go. Here we go with the two little ones.
Yeah, and I saw your puppies. They're absolutely gorgeous. I have a little husky here. It's not little anymore, but it's
we have one more, but I couldn't fit him in my hand. So all right, that's it. I'm gonna put him back now. That's it. They're making
awesome.
their podcast debut here.
Very cute.
All right. Well, I mean, listen, everyone had something very interesting to say, folks. I mean, listen, the bottom line is if you have an Xbox Series X or S and you have Game Pass, and quite frankly, at this point, it's almost ridiculous to think why you wouldn't have it. Like, honestly, it's the best deal in gaming, and it's only going to get more. I mean, like I said, what's interesting is, again, we don't know for sure. I'm thinking 30 million by the end of the year. They could potentially hit that before. And again, that's you say, well, boom, how do you know the numbers? Well, they're averaging 1 million per month. So just based on what they had and what they currently, 25 million at the middle of the year with 6 months left, it's over 30 million if they continue to follow that 1 million per month. I feel that they're going to start exceeding that, maybe 1.2, 1.3, because again, they're doing all of these numbers with the Ascents going into there, the smaller games, the Last Stop, 12 minutes, that's coming out. Obviously, people are going to be joining the service once the big AAA bombs start coming. Then we're going to get into a different conversation, because at that point, you're talking now they're gonna do what Sony did last gen. See, what Sony did so amazingly last gen was, right along with their big AAA bombs, they had the second party deals and they had the indies. Now they don't care about indies, and we're not going to get into that. They don't care about indies anymore. Indies are important to Sony. They just want the big AAA narrative experience. But Microsoft is doing exactly what Sony did, and that cost Microsoft a generation, because they couldn't keep up. Looks like Sony might not be able to keep up this year, this generation, but only time will tell. Obviously, we have it on good authority that Horizon is going to be delayed until 2022 first quarter, I believe, and it makes sense. Why rush the game? And the Kena is probably going to be one of the biggest ones for them outside of Ratchet and Clank, which no one is talking about because everyone has beaten already. I haven't beaten it yet because I'm playing too many games. That's my problem.
I'm really looking forward to Kena. I don't know.
Dude, I am absolutely. It's one of my most anticipated games.
I'm actually looking forward to that a lot more than Deathloop. Like Kena's the probably the unless Horizon comes out, that's probably going to be the only game I play on the PS5 for the rest of the year.
Oh, all right. I mean, listen, again, that's what's great about. I cannot see the super chats. Okay, I have to
hold on. I was able to capture some of them for you, my man. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, for some reason I can't access them on. It's just the most ridiculous things. YouTube is having a fit, so I don't want to mess up the stream. Let's see.
First one had no message.
Okay, yes. Alex is a Valve. Drops a $7 super chat and says
No message.
He didn't actually say anything. We have Davikin. Well, thanks. First of all, Alex, thanks for being here, brother. Thank you for the generosity. Space Davikin drops a $5 super chat and says, as far as I remember, is the first game utilizing DXR, DirectX ray tracing on the Xbox. No other game is using that tech on console, I believe. And then Kenta Wilson drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says Flight Simulator is breathtaking on the X. Indeed, I have a flight stick, folks, and I still haven't played it. I just don't have the time. That's my biggest problem. Again, I know real world problems, folks. Now look,
first world problems there.
First world problems. There you go. Thank you for the save. Listen, folks. We're not going to beat around the bush. This was supposed to be a 4-topic show. The panel is rather large. So we have to go into why we're all here, why people have tuned in. Because, now listen, say what you want about the way I'm doing my thumbnails. First of all, it's the best artwork I've personally done, and it's been my biggest crutch. My biggest uphill battle has been the thumbnails. I figured out a way to present them, and people are digging them, which is great. Tonight's thumbnail, some people might consider controversial. I certainly don't. I think that there is complete truth to it. Is it cheeky? Sure. Is it the truth? Well, absolutely. Now, Deathloop, according to a story that I pulled from our good friends over at Video Games Chronicles, short for VGC, one of my favorite places to get my news from, Deathloop has gone gold ahead of its September release, and that has PlayStation 5 owners very excited to play Arcane's newest shooter. But does it? I don't know. I think there's going to potentially be some sort of a sit-in, if you will, not to buy this game because it's technically going to be an Xbox IP, and you are probably not going to get a sequel if you're a PlayStation owner. And if there is a sequel, it's probably going to be an Xbox exclusive, which is, fair for the course because that's business. Now, with the purchase of Bethesda and ZeniMax concluded earlier this year, many wondered if the two PlayStation 5 timed exclusive games, Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop, would remain exclusive. Now, we all know that Phil Spencer announced that Microsoft would, in fact, honor those deals. And that is, of course, the way Xbox has been doing business for quite some time. And obviously, they are going to stay exclusive for PlayStation for 1 full year. Now, look, this is where we get into it's going to come to opinions. and I'm going to give you mine before I get everyone else's. With both God of War, which we kind of knew wasn't coming out this year. Again, Smoke and Mirrors.
We kind of knew.
I'm being generous, but you listen. You be Mr. Slander. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. But God of War, what we knew it wasn't coming out, but Sony said otherwise. Forbidden West, though, I kind of hoped it would be, but that, and we're hearing from multiple sources that it is in fact going to be delayed until 2022. Sony started the year pretty strong. They had Returnal, which, again, the same problems Returnal had is the same problems the Ascent had, but somehow Returnal good, the Ascent shit. I'm just saying that's how it is, but I'm not going to go down that deep rabbit hole. It's a 9.5 for me. I have 56 hours in the game. I have 3 achievements to unlock, which will be fixed with a patch, and if I didn't like the game, it would not be my game of the year 2021, and it currently is. And they also had Ratchet and Clank, which I'm playing through. Gorgeous game. I love platformers, so I don't know if I'm going to platinum it, but I'm definitely going to play through it by the end of the year. And Kena, Bridge of Spirits, my personal one of my personal indie picks for 2021. Game looks like a Pixar movie. I cannot wait to play it. But the question is very simple, folks. Is PlayStation dependent on a Microsoft published title as their top exclusive in 2021? And the answer is yes, it is. You may not want to hear it, but I'm going to serve it up hot. Now, if you leave it there, you can have dessert. That's all I'm going to say. Yes. This is a big game, folks. You can, if you're a PlayStation guy or gal, you can poo-poo it all you want. This is a small team doing some big things. And there were a lot of PlayStation folks that were on board with this originally. The game looks fantastic. Joe, Mr. Badbit, who is the subtle voice, the positive voice of the PlayStation over at the trophy room, as a shooter fan, he's looking forward to the game. Joe and I talk all the time, and he is excited. But listen, I think that this is going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of PlayStation gamers who, whether they're in on the console war shenanigans or they're listening to their peers who are in up front, ready with their battle rifles to fight this war that's, an imaginary war that's going on. Let me get Kay Asante in on the issue. Where do you fall with this being potentially one of the bigger PlayStation exclusives that are published by Microsoft? I mean, folks, listen, all we have to do is look at how Xbox gamers were treated with MLB The Show. Like, this is a bookend to a year that would almost be out of the Twilight Zone, right? Sony charges their fans $76.43 for the MLB The Show for the PlayStation 5. Do you know what Xbox players had to do? Press the download button, and that was it. You got the Series X and S version for the price of, well, your subscription. That's a kick in the teeth then. It's a kick in the balls now. And now, to bookend 2021, as crazy as it's been, the most anticipated game is not going to be a first party game for PlayStation. It's going to be a Bethesda title that's going to be published by Microsoft. How do you think that's going to make players feel? And am I lying by saying this is what it is?
No, I don't think you're lying at all. And I actually think that if you don't necessarily listen to what they say and instead watch what they're doing, you'll recognize that Sony actually knew this was going to happen. They saw this happening. That's why they were, during the beginning of, before the console releases, there was all this talk about they're dropping money left and right just to get console exclusives because they don't have much of their own, and obviously COVID was a thing, right? This is a very cyclical industry. This is exactly what happened to Xbox, right?
Yes.
This is exactly what happened to Xbox. The difference is, I suspect that Sony will be able to pull it off better than Microsoft did, because we all know. I mean, back then they were. I don't know if they will be again. You know, their marketing was always on point. So
Yes.
they could, you know, fool you.
The
into,
masters of
into what-
marketing, dude.
That's right. Into believing whatever. They'd have the best holiday season of the year ever, even though they technically don't really have any games that would warrant that, right? Remember the holiday that Microsoft tried to push Crackdown 3 on people, and then eventually they ended up delaying it anyway. You know, it is what it is, and this is one of those for them, right? And they knew it. They knew it. You saw they knew it, because even before the whole Bethesda thing, they were trying to buy exclusivity for more than exactly for Starfield and the other two, right?
Yeah.
So they knew exactly what problems they would have this time around. They knew it. Okay. So now, do I believe that we will go into the holiday season with absolutely nothing else? I leave room for them to surprise me. I'm not talking new IP. I'm not talking, out of left field, new amazing game that nobody expected. You'll probably get one of those director's cuts they've been talking about. You'll probably get something regurgitated with a little bit of more oomph that they'll be able to push, you know, and that's fine. These companies
that doesn't
deal
count.
with
That counts as no games.
But you know what? I live in a world where I use an adult brain, and just because the morons tried to tell me different, I'm not gonna go.
I am cocking over and I'm throwing the poop right back at the monkeys. No. I'm using your own logic against you. Sorry,
but honestly, and you're right. You have every right to be using that logic. The thing that I actually want to focus in on isn't this a little unfortunate? I mean, yes, I get it. There's third party. You know, if you're into Battlefield 2042, you're gonna love it. You know, there's gonna be other third party games to fill the gap. You know, that will be there. But isn't it a little unfortunate that there is really no PlayStation offering so far? You know, and I'll be watching real closely to see what kind of out of left field. Hey, we're dropping you something for this holiday season you wouldn't have expected. I want to see what they have there, because, you know, as much money as they may or may not have, game making takes time, right? So it doesn't matter how much money they got. It doesn't matter how many stops they pull. If they don't have it prepared well enough, they've got nothing for this year, nothing, right?
Well,
Absolutely
I mean,
zero, which is very surprising.
I'll say this, you know, what's amazing, and again, it's roles reversal, folks. I mean, listen, I'm going to give you the mic back for a second, but why should we be surprised by this, right? I don't think I think time and space dictate that Sony and their cockiness was eventually going to come back to hurt them, right? Now, we saw this same scenario happen from the Wii to the Wii U, right? Nintendo thought that they could bamboozle everyone to buy another console, and they barely sold 10 million of them, right? We saw the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3, right? We saw, hey, if you want this, get a second job, right? And then we saw this happen in the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One. And now we're seeing it happen to Sony. When, like Nintendo, they're really an enigma. They're their own thing. You know, they're always going to be their own. I mean, they're making money hand over fist with the Switch, and of course of the fake Switch HD, which I'm buying because I like the way it looks, and I'll take. I'm a stand for Nintendo, but Sony. They kind of got caught with their pants down for next generation, and the proof's in the pudding here. And you know what? I'm not saying that we shouldn't expect that God of War is going to be great, or the fact that Horizon is going to be great, but we have to talk about what's now. And this holiday season, it's going to be all green. And I'm not talking about Christmas or Santa Claus. I'm talking about Xbox, because I bet
right now. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I'm saying not only do they have Halo, which if anyone got in on the beta, Halo's back, baby, and anyone is going to be playing it, whether you play the campaign single with your boy, with your boys and girls, whatever, with your family members, and then you're going to jump into to Forge if you want to build stuff, like our good friend John from Xbox Era, who's a Forge master. And of course, One Bad Mother is in the chat. I want to say that what's up to him.
Hey, Boom.
Yes,
Halo
sir.
will have more players.
Yes.
Forget about players, right? Because Game Pass is going to cook the book on cook the books on players. But I'm saying sales. It will sell more copies than Returnal and Ratchet and Clank combined in its sleep.
Yeah, you know what? But you know
disagree
something,
with that.
to be slanderous, because I'm pulling a page out of your book. That's not a lot, because 500.
That's a low floor.
I mean, listen, if you're gonna call a spade, let's call.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me clarify that. Opening week.
Okay, all right. I mean, listen, I just want to clarify the numbers.
Opening week, it will sell more than both of them sell for the whole year. But go ahead.
Ratchet and you know something? I'm pointing. Look, folks, where's my camera? I'm pointing at the PlayStation fans who complain, who big up these first party games. They only sold 1 million copies for Ratchet and Clank. Shame on you. I bought it, right? But you consider me an Xbox guy, and I've been playing it like crazy, right? I've been enjoying the hell out of it. How come you didn't buy it? And same thing for Returnal. Now, I didn't buy Returnal. I'll buy it when it's $20.
See, I'm seeing in the chat people saying you shouldn't compare Ratchet to Halo. No, you shouldn't, and that's what we've been saying this whole time. But it didn't stop them. It didn't stop them all that time.
Yeah.
When they were making fun of Craig and then comparing it to Ratchet. So yes, we can compare it, and I'm throwing poop at you, sir. But go ahead.
throw all the poop you want. This is a poop throwing show. But please, by all means,
wow,
all over the screen.
Asante, continue your point, sir.
No. I mean, it's just. I'm sorry. I need a moment. Give me a moment. It's just absolutely ridiculous to me that people just find some way of like they do this mental jujitsu to somehow make it okay that this company is now, and let me be clear here. This is not a failing on PlayStation's part, okay? It is what it is. COVID is a big thing. It's out there.
100%.
It's doing things. I'm not sitting here going, oh, screw PlayStation for not. They felt it like everybody else is going to feel it. This is what it is. You cannot blame the company for not having what you want because they're basically trying to keep people healthy. And I personally think that's more important than anything else. My thought on it right now is if I was PlayStation and PlayStation of old was far more aggressive and far more, they knew how to thread the needle far better than the new PlayStation does, but I hope they do a better job of it. If I was of PlayStation right now, I'd be gathering all my nickels and dimes and like really, really, really working hard. Because as we know, and I think even Phil Spencer said that in a recent interview, they all basically get to know what's going to come out before everybody else knows it, right? All the platform holders get a long heads up before any of these games are announced that we know. So even third parties, the platform holders know roughly when these games are coming. So if I was PlayStation, I'd be on the phone, on the hunt, rubbing together nickels and dimes, trying to get some console launch exclusives right now, because that can still happen, right?
Yeah,
they can still say, hey, here's the big bag. We'll park the Xbox version. We'll park this version. We'll just release the PlayStation and PC version, and they'll have something to say, right? They'll have a story to tell. And we've been waiting for that quote unquote August show that the PlayStation insiders supposedly promised us. And I've heard only the Xbox is coming out with an August show. I haven't heard the PlayStation version yet, but I hope that it happens soon and we get to see some of that. Because
you know what I heard again, folks. I don't have a lot of connections. What I heard, what I was able to hear, and I think many people have talked about this on the shows, is they were waiting for Call of Duty to be ready to show. Now, with everything that's going on with Activision, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, that shit may have sailed.
Yeah, I'm listen. If I'm PlayStation, I understand they're your partner, but right now it's not good. It's not good to be anything Blizzard. It's not good to be anything Activision. A second lawsuit was just announced. More and more people are walking to the front of the line to say, yeah, this happened to me. This sexual incident happened to me. It's disgusting. I've said this on my show. Double Barrel Gaming will not support either of those companies. As much as I was looking forward to, and me and Mrs. Boomstick were looking forward to Diablo 2 and 4, I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm a vote with my wallet. I'm going to stand strong on this one. Activision is not getting a dollar from me, from Mrs. Boom, and this channel. That goes for Blizzard as well until some sort of change happens, and that could be years. And I don't care because I don't care about Call of Duty like that anyway. And whatever else they put out with is whatever. I don't care. But getting back to the point, I know there are some people in here that are a little disappointed with the toxicity that we are being accused of. Listen, folks, we're having some fun here, and I'm not going to mention names, but you know something? If you're going to play in the yard and you're going to fling it, expect to get dirt on you as well. And we've seen more times than not a very specific community dog Xbox every chance they get. And I don't think we're dogging them. We're having a little fun. We're doing a little rebel rousing with what's going on. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, if it's not for you, well, I can humbly say that I appreciate you being here, but I don't want you to have to listen to anything you're not a fan of. I would say turn it off, write me a dirty comment, say boom sucks, drop it into the hit a thumbs down, and even unsubscribe. But for the most part, we are speaking facts. We're having fun. I researched everything that we're talked about. My guys that are in this panel, they have all the notes. This is their opinions. We're having a little fun with it. If you feel that it's too much fun, then maybe this show isn't for you. But please,
clearly they don't have Twitter.
Apparently they don't have Twitter, and they don't. Well, that's a good point. But Santa, please continue with your point because it was.
I think I've said my piece on the matter. I think all of this is absolutely ridiculous. This is not this is not even accusing Sony of mismanaging or doing anything because they haven't really done anything yet. This is just all of their diehard warriors ready to bring the pitchforks out to defend themselves. Even though I want to hold your hand, man. I want to tell you I feel bad for you. I want to stand with you, and I want to tell you, come on, man. The pandemic did you wrong, and unfortunately, you're not able to play your game. But guess what? You can go and get a Series S for real cheap, or you could even get a Game Pass subscription for a month, so that this year, when your console does not come out with any of the crazy hotness, you can still partake of the others. It's not about all that console war BS. I think it's unfortunate. The fact that I paid $500 and my PS5 is going to collect dust until 2022.
I haven't turned on my PlayStation 5 I played Ratchet and Clank for like a week and a half. Something else came out, and since then I have not turned it back on.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll turn it on. I'll play a bit of Returnal, and then I'll remember why I don't want to play Returnal because I'm hoping for patches. Because that's one thing PlayStation has been good at. Just like with Ghost of Tsushima, it came out as a single player game. Then all of a sudden there was a multiplayer mode. Then all of a sudden there was some more refinements and all of that. I'm hoping that new versions, new modes come out for Returnal that turn it into more of a general adventure game rather than the.
I would buy it then. Yeah, I wouldn't pay for vote for it.
Every once in a while, I'm checking for updates to see if hey, maybe they drop something new, maybe they clean something up because I really like the game and I want to finish it. But even me, who's a person who actually likes what do you call it?
Roguelites.
What do you call roguelike to Metroidvanias and stuff? There's a specific formula that they follow that I feel this game broke, and as such, I just can't continue in it. So I just every once in a while I'll play it for like 5 minutes and then I'll put it down. My PlayStation has been collecting since I finished Ratchet and Clank, unfortunately. So this is not me. And for those who think, oh, there's console war toxicity, this is not me saying, hey, you guys suck because your console is bad or whatever. This is me saying it's a problem for all of us who own these systems to buy this $500 piece of equipment and then not be able to play anything off of it until 2022. It's a problem. So I feel for you if that's the only one you have. Go ahead.
You know what? And you know what? That's a great point. Everyone, before I bring you up, I know there's a question as to percentages of the 10 million that Sony said that they sold. They shipped. They shipped 10 million. For clarification, and this is confirmation. This is confirmed. Go check my. Fact check me if you want. 25%, which is 2.5 million haven't been turned on. Have not been turned on. That is absolutely correct. Thank you for backing me up. That means that 7.5 million people, gamers, bought a PlayStation 5. 1 million of us. I'm pointing at you, PlayStation fans, bought Ratchet and Clank. 560,000 bought Returnal. So please Don't bring
And
it
the
to
rest
me.
are, the rest are what? Scalpers just kind of waiting for somebody to pay for it or something?
Yeah, they're not turned.
That's insane.
2.5 million consoles have
Well,
not
you've
been
got that, and
activated.
then at the same time as well, and this is an unfortunate thing. It's some shops as well are reluctant to sell those consoles unless they're in bundles completely. And they're not just
$800,
little bundles.
$900
These are the like
bundles. GameStop
$900,
is one of them.
$1,000 bundles.
They'll
Yes.
try to
It's
sell you a
obscene.
trash TV.
Yeah.
Like, just because they want to get it off of
Yeah.
their shelves.
Mhm.
It's not just it isn't just scalpers. Unfortunately, there's a lot of shops out there that just want to sell these unbelievably expensive bundles that, in a pandemic world, is just not viable to the average buyer. Like, if you go out and want to buy a console, you buy the console. You might buy one game because you can afford to do that at any one point. Not everybody has $800 to $900 just ready to burn.
But
It's
you know,
just
Also,
not
I
viable.
think there's
To your
something
point
else
there-
to consider. Just one
Go
thing,
ahead.
Kay.
Go ahead.
If you have to, because a lot of people are buying these things from scalpers, and you're paying $700, $1,000 from a scalper, maybe you don't have that much left to go and buy games. So it's not good all around. But I do have some points, and I think the PlayStation guys will like me for the.
Well, please, but
What they're
take it
gonna-
away,
what I'm
everyone.
gonna
Take it away.
Only quick point I want to make before I let you speak there, Everborn. To Dutch's point, the reason why they're in bundles, think about it. It's because that's the only way they get any money. After you buy your PlayStation 5 digital or your Xbox,
You're never
Series
coming
S,
back.
You're never coming back to that store again. So they have to sell you a controller or they have to sell you something else just to make it worth their while for selling you that thing. Continue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went to Target, got my PlayStation 5. It was like, so long, suckers. No,
Never coming back.
No, but so the thing is, like, Xbox is not immune to scalpers and bundles as well, and I'm sure there are some numbers there that are not that are less than the 6.5 million series consoles that were sold, right? So I think that affects both. It affects both of them, and
100%.
you know, what I said this last week, I'm not very impressed with the returnal numbers, but I think Ratchet is good considering the install base. I think everyone is looking for a 10% attach rate, and that will only grow as the platform grows. So, you know, if the PS5 hits 100 million, they'll have games that are selling 10 million, and that's a sign of a healthy attach rate, I think, because it's all percentages, right? So the other thing is, at the end of the day, I kind of look at it as a wash, not a wash, because I think when you look at everything that's coming out, is more in the favor of the Xbox for this year. But I think things were light on the Xbox side. Not that there was nothing to play, but if we're talking about like first party releases, like, I think Sony won the first 6 months, right? And it looks like Xbox is going to win the second 6 months. So when we look back at the first year of the launch, I think they are both doing very well, and they're doing what they need to do. It's just I'm the captain now, right? It is sort of Xbox's time now, and then in 2022, Sony is going to hit back very hard if God of War comes out. But at least we know Horizon will come out, and they're going to have some other things there. So I think we are in the middle of a bare knuckle boxing match, right? It is going to get ugly in terms of competition, and that is only good. And I think everybody on this panel, almost everybody on this panel, has both consoles. But even if you have only one, I think you are in good shape whichever way you go. Right now, anyway, that may change. So I think Sony will be fine. And to speak to your point earlier, Kay, I actually think Sony is trying to transition to the Nintendo model, where they have so many beloved franchises that they can sell those over and over again, reinvent them, sometimes remake them, and give them a larger audience, and have franchises that people have emotional connections to, and they will sell 20 million every time they come out. That is what they are moving towards. Whether they will be successful at that, I have no idea, but it seems to me like that's what they're doing in the face of the onslaught that I think we're starting to see now from the game standpoint on the Xbox side, and that's how you compete, right? Like you can't appeal to the numbers, right? but you can appeal to people's emotions. And I think that is what I think that's what Nintendo does, and I think Sony is moving down that direction. So they will be fine, and I have no problem with what Sony is doing because I got a lot of play, and I like the updates that they did to God of War because I played that for the first time this year. So I was on the PlayStation there. I'm waiting for them when they officially announced that Horizon 2 isn't coming this year, and they give us the next gen update for the first Horizon. Then I will play that. And Ghost, I'm going to pay $70 because I never played that. I think it's worth it if you are just getting into it for the first time. I don't know how I would feel if I paid for the game and they wanted to charge me $10 asshole tax, but that is what that is.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm not
we
doing
really
that.
we need to have a conversation about this because Everborn's like sitting back, getting the best experience. We're experiencing all the crap, having to deal with the BS.
You don't have to buy these games on day one. Wait till they fix them, and then you go in and enjoy greatness. Right?
Enjoy repaired greatness. Right?
This is what I'm saying, man. Listen, I started playing the Ascent. It has issues. I'm putting it down until those issues get resolved. And I know there's a patch that is coming out, but it's not out yet. When it comes out,
PC, it's out. On console, not yet.
When it comes to console, I will play it. This is it. I'm not rushing out to be a beta tester for these guys no more, unless it's Halo. I am going to let them work out the kinks. This goes for Microsoft. This goes for Sony, and then I will play a game. Now, a game that didn't have really any problems was Death's Door, which I will not stop talking about because that is my game of the year. You can have $100 million budget all you want. You did not do better than Death's Door. So, long story short, Sony is in good shape. They will be fine. I think they're doing great things and providing great experiences. And 2022 is going to be again, it's going to be MMA style where somebody's going to break their leg like Conor McGregor, right? But they had the first 6 months, so you got to give them that. My issue is with the PlayStation diehards. So it's not Sony's problem. These are those weird fans. I'm not saying all Sony fans. I'm saying the ones who like to throw all of this dirt towards Xbox, and then when Xbox is on the upswing, that's when they start crying toxic. So that's really where my issue is. But Sony itself, I'm not particularly looking forward to Death's Door. I'm like I said,
Death Stranding.
Death's Door. It's not Death's Door. Deathloop.
Okay.
Not looking forward to
deaths
Deathloop
around here.
Yeah, I know. Like the death of these narratives of Xbox Got No Games. But last thing I'm going to say, right? When I say you use this logic against them, right? We have been spending months and months and months saying, enjoy your games. There are so many reasons to be able to have fun. If you have not experienced the game before, and now you get to experience it on upgraded hardware, if they're putting out next-gen patches, whether you have to pay for them or not, you are still getting to re-experience these games or experience them in their best form later on. If it is a third-party game and that's where you game because that's where your friends are, if you are experiencing indie games that you would not have experienced before, we said all those things. We said all these games are important. Indie games across the board. They didn't all have to be one AAA over-the-shoulder narrative thing, and it wasn't all about what your AAA exclusive bangers were. We said that, and nobody listened. All it was Xbox Got No Games. Mm-hmm. And now, when Sony has to wait to deliver some of their greatness, that's what I'm calling it. It is greatness. Horizon, God of War, that's greatness. Now you have to wait. And now you have to play the games that we were playing, that you were probably playing too, but you were just following the narrative. So now you're going to get the smoke.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what we used to say in the schoolyard. There's nothing between me and you but space and opportunity. So enjoy these hands, or what Fat Joe likes to call the beats. But go ahead, I'm done.
Listen,
You know what? Speaking of hip hop, let's bring in my brother Neo Mental. Now, Mental, obviously, you've heard what everyone has said so far. I think everyone has pretty much been on point. Again, no one is going to suggest that Sony isn't at some point going to deliver on their first party games. They're just not doing that this year. This year, their first party game, one of their biggest first party games, is coming at the hands of published by Microsoft. That's going to probably sting for a lot of people. A lot of people aren't going to buy the game because, like I said in the opening, they may not be able to play this game if it gets a sequel. And the reason why that is because it's going to probably remain as an Xbox exclusive. Now, you were going to say something about your PlayStation 5 not turning it on. I know. I think that's what you were going to say. What are your thoughts on this going on right now?
Listen, this whole thing is just like 50 and Ja Rule. You know, Ja Rule is out. He's making some great music, dude singing. He's having a good time. 50 comes along, says, man, you singing, you a wankster. And then the next album, 50 comes out and he's singing. You just killed this dude the last album, and then you come out singing now. I don't understand. And it's not even Sony. It's the fans. Like, they're the biggest trolls out there. And it's like, listen, I'm on Twitter, I'm minding my business. I go through my timeline, and all I see is retweets and pictures of tweets and all this other stuff of all these memes. And you know what? They're not even funny. They're not even funny. The whole narrative of Xbox has no games it's like annoying. But the whole thing is that, like, if I'm here chilling, don't bother me. So then when I come with the smoke and then you starting to cry because I hit you with some real stuff, it's, oh, I don't understand why you got to keep pushing that narrative and this and that. Listen, leave me alone, bro, and we're good. I like the PlayStation. I like it. It's good. Listen, Miles Morales came out and it was really dope DLC. I liked it. You know what I'm saying? They got me for some money. Then they're going to try to get me again. They're going to get me for Ghost, and they're going to get me for Death Stranding, which, by the way, Death Stranding was a misunderstood and poorly marketed game.
Yeah.
Extremely poorly
I put 60
marketed.
hours into it thanks to you. You gifted me the game. And what every time I talk about Death Stranding, what do I tell people? It is the most incredible multiplayer game that's a single player game you ever played. Because when people are jumping into your game that you don't even know to build bridges and leave you supplies, that's dope.
Yeah, bro. I think 2 months ago I logged into my save, and my bridges, and I had made this entire network of zip lines, and people were taking care of it. Like, it was crazy to go in there and see. Like, I had like 400,000 likes on my stuff. It was like I was in like the top tier. I was like, holy crap! Like, that's crazy. I mean, listen, there's great games out there. I'm not trying to say that, but you know, you're in a bad place, and then you pull in a 50 cent. Like, just knock it off. You know what I'm saying? Just knock it off. And I would really like Sony to take an effort and really focus on accessories instead of killing me for $10 for a download update. Give me a controller like the Elite. I'll give you $200. I'm gonna give it to you. Give it to me. I mean, listen, how much money are leaving on the table with companies like Scuff? You got Raid Extreme. There's a ton of companies that are modding these controllers now. And you look at those controllers, they're like $250, $300. Where's that money? That's $300 you could have. You could have offset those download prices like crazy. But they're not thinking about the fans. They're thinking about the immediate gratification. And that's my problem. Because right now, Microsoft is taking care of me. My needs have been met. So I'm going to chill on that side. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy there. You don't want no smoke? Leave Neo alone.
Yeah. No, great point. Wandering Dutch, let's get your opinion on this. There's a lot to be said about what's happening. This is roles reversal. Unfortunately, Sony, listen again. I have to say this because if I don't say it, people will be like, oh, you're beating down on Sony. No one is a bigger proponent for Sony's first party, single player, story driven, over the shoulder narrative than I am. Because it's the only thing I buy on PlayStation. That's it. I could care less about anything else. Now, if there's an indie or two, sure, I'll jump on an indie. Obviously, Kena, one of my most anticipated indies of 2021.
Heard in the chat, it's Kana.
Oh, it's Cana. Okay, I thought it was
like
Kina.
Australian for beer.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Cana, tomato. Listen,
Kinda.
yeah, but regardless, it's one of my most anticipated games. I'm going to play that. I cannot wait to play it, as a matter of fact. But at the same time, their biggest game is going to come at the hands of a published Microsoft published game. Now we are seeing some slander about then people aren't going to support it because it's an Xbox game, which is listen, if that's your bag, man, what am I going to tell you? Don't support it. What I don't care. I'm not buying it on PlayStation because I'm going to wait to play for free on Xbox Game Pass. I'm not, and what's crazy?
Boom.
Yes, sir.
Real quick about your point there, Boom. What would you say if they release this thing and then all of a sudden they go, it's free on PlayStation Plus for the month?
I will play it then.
I would say good luck, PlayStation. Well done. That's basically the reversal of the MLB The Show right there.
And they would not do that.
I don't think they would, but I would commend them if they did.
I would.
I'm looking forward to seeing.
That would be the lead thumbnail for a topic. Sony has gave back to the fans something incredible. That would be my tagline. That's not going to happen. What's interesting though is that it's only $60.
That would require Sony as well to come out and pay Microsoft a large chunk to put it on PlayStation Plus, and I don't think they would do that.
And they won't do it. That's absolutely. So, by all means, wondering, let's get your point on what everyone has to say so far.
Certainly, yeah. Well, I've been saying this since not only the launch of the PlayStation, but onwards. As someone who gave up his PS5 pre-order for multiple reasons. Firstly, I'm primarily Xbox. I have a PlayStation 4 Pro. I needed a specific reason myself to get a PlayStation 5 other than just to do what I do, and that is A, to modify them, and B, to play the games, speak about the games, and have a valid opinion when it comes to the titles that are coming out specifically for PlayStation 5. Problem I've had since launch is that they haven't given me that specific reason to invest in the system so far. Bloodborne, it's never been a one for me. Primarily, it's a Souls-like game. I've got Souls-like. I've got Souls on Xbox. I could quite easily get a Souls game on PlayStation, but they're just not my game. So that's one thing out the door. And if you have a look at the casual gamers, Souls-like games are never going to sell well. They're not a big. It is a very niche market, a Souls-like game. So that's. It's not discrediting it, but it's certainly not something that you'd go out and say it's a system seller, because it isn't by any stretch of the imagination. That unfortunately goes for Returnal. That is also not a system seller. That's never going to get me to invest in the console. Ratchet & Clank was one of them. But again, unfortunately, after giving up the pre-order, the scarcity of the PlayStation 5 has been extreme. So it's left me to the point where I'm just like, right, I'll just wait. I will just wait. But upon saying that, throughout the whole course of this year, my main problem with PlayStation as a whole, and my main worry for them, is where are their titles coming from next? And when they announced that they had 25 games in development, they made a very specific point in saying, from our partners and third-party publishers that are working with exclusive deals, as well as first-party. So they're not 25 first-party titles. They haven't got the amount of studios required to do so. When I looked and I did a deep dive into the studios and what they could be developing, it's a very limited subsector of games that they will be developing. Then we had the whole rigmarole of whether or not they're going to do a Last of Us remake, remaster, part 5, version 2.3 reloaded.
Which you know what they're going to do with that. I mean, even BitCloud, who obviously is PlayStation centric, he said it. He says he knows what they're going to do. They're going to release factions and make you buy the HD remaster remake.
I can see that happening.
Of The Last of Us. Now, granted, listen, I'm not going to front. When The Last of Us was released for the PlayStation 4, I bought it day one.
Well, that was the first time I played it.
And I beat it again, and it was amazing.
Yep.
Will I buy this one? Man, I don't know. It's going to be $70, so I don't know. I mean, that might be what
the main killer. Yeah, you've got a point there, though. The main killer, unfortunately, at the moment for PlayStation is this additional $10 tax for being on PlayStation. If anybody can't see that, look no further than Ghost of Tsushima and Iki Island expansion.
Yeah,
that game the expansion for that is $20. If you want that same expansion on PlayStation 5, it's $30 because you're getting enhancements. Those enhancements include being able to use the controller you've already paid for, being able to use the headphones you've already paid for, as well as lip syncing. That's lip syncing that was originally meant to be in the game that wasn't in the game, and then they repatched it and put it in the game in the first place. So it's not like some newfangled experiment. This is a game that could quite easily have had that for nothing. But as to Everborn Saga's point was, they still need to make money off you.
Yeah.
Still need to make something off you because they don't have an additional income source. Outside, actually, no, that was Neo Mental's point. I think it was the fact that they do have to make up other avenues of Sony aren't what is making money. PlayStation is what is keeping Sony going, and that unfortunately has been the case for quite some time. But to me, my problem is specifically looking at the studios that PlayStation have and what they're working on. You've got Sony Santa Monica. You know for a fact that is God of War Ragnarok. They don't have anything else on top of that. So that's one. You have Naughty Dog. You know exactly what Naughty Dog are making, and there's no other shadow of doubt. It's either Uncharted or The Last of Us, and that's it. So there's two. You already know the two titles that they're working on. Apparently they're working on something else, but those are the ones that we are aware of. Then you have other smaller studios. Insomniac have literally been keeping them afloat for the entrance of this generation.
Yeah.
With Miles Morales, the Spider-Man remaster that came with Miles Morales, as well as now Ratchet and Clank. So they've been literally doing the heavy work for them for the opening sequence of this launch. Now, the main thing people need to really pay attention to is the launch window is not as important. Well, is nowhere near as important to the general public as it would be for the hardcore. To me, it makes absolutely no difference if a console generation starts off with an extremely strong launch lineup, because only the hardcore will invest in a console at launch. That is exact. Only the die-hard fans of consoles will go out, wait for a console at launch, and pick up that console. So you've got a very small subsection of fans that will go out and buy that console for when that console releases. That isn't the vast majority. The vast majority of your fans come later on in the generation. So when we're talking about what Everborn Saga was talking about, coming to the tail end of this year, going into the next year and the year after, that is really where you need to start picking up. If you have a look at, as to Everborn's point was earlier, the launch for Xbox last generation was just where PlayStation is this generation.
Yeah.
They relied on third-party exclusives to have a strong opening launch. PlayStation is exactly the same. These are second or third-party titles, the occasional first-party title that's been thrown in there, but mostly third-party to see out the rest of the year. And this is where we've been left in this unfortunate circumstance where Microsoft have now purchased Bethesda, even though that is obviously that purchasing agreement was going on for quite some time, years in fact, before that was agreed. But now you've got this weird circumstance where Bethesda, i.e. now Microsoft, are carrying the tail end of that year for PlayStation, which is a really strange thing to see. And it's unfortunate. And again, I don't want to see it, but I can see it happening, where not only will the Bethesda game Deathloop be carrying that, but I see a really big onus on Kena when that comes out in September being put on their shoulders when it shouldn't be. And the likes of Returnal, which is technically a AA game, it's not AAA, it's a niche game as well, was hyped up beyond recognition, and a very large price tax was put on that game that shouldn't have been there, that I personally believe has affected their sales. I think if that wasn't a $70 price tag on top of Returnal, more people would have jumped on that game to try that out. I think it'll probably gain more over time when that price comes down. And I'm very thankful that Kena isn't a $70 game. I think that's like $40 or something.
$40.
But even if you have a look at it in that sense, that's an expensive indie. like if you have a look at the indies that are coming around it, the Ascent as itself, is that not something like £25 or something? Or
It's 30
like
bucks. Yeah,
30,
it's 30,
yeah, 30
$30 here
for
in
the
States.
Ascent.
Yes.
And I mean, that was we have to look at that now, of course, outside of that Metro review that come out. That game was hyped as a AAA because of where Xbox is. It's not a AAA. Everyone knows it's not a AAA, but the media
12 people made the game.
Exactly. But the media treated as such. The media treated like a AAA because of where Microsoft is currently. Of course, but now we're starting to get the influx of games coming for Xbox up until holiday this year. So, of course, you've had Death's Door, The Ascent. You had the closed beta for Back 4 Blood, which was, of course, coming to Game Pass day one. You've had Flight Sim. You're going into Psychonauts at the end of the month. You've got 12 minutes this month as well. Then you're going into the month after, and there's even more games. The month after that, you're starting to get into the likes of your big holiday releases with Forza Horizon and Halo Infinite. It's just an influx of games. And as I think Everborn mentioned before as well, yes, you've got your third-party titles like your Battlefields and things like that are coming out. But Xbox also have them. So when you're looking at who's got the largest portfolio of games coming by the end of the year and how you're going to save as much money coming up to this Christmas period, which has been a tail end of a very tight year for a lot of people in terms of money.
Great point.
Who's going to offer you the most bang for your buck when it comes to the holiday season? And if you have a look at Sony's portfolio, you're looking, right, okay, so I'm getting my child a PlayStation 5, which I've been searching months for Christmas. Now I've got to go out and I'm spending, there's 70 for Ratchet and Clank. Is Returnal? Shall I try Returnal? Okay, we'll put down 70 on top of Returnal as well. Another controller, there's another 70. Okay, what else do I need? Right, okay. So what else? Spider-Man, Miles Morales, right? Okay, that's probably still $70 because I don't know, have they reduced that yet?
Not as far as I know.
I don't think so. Is that still full price?
Yeah, I think so.
And then you've got Deathloop. I mean, if you're buying a game for your kids, is it a game with the word death in it? Like, is that gonna scream out to you? You know what I mean? But
every kid should play Death's Door.
Yeah, exactly. But
everyone should play Death's Door, which, by the way, I beat the Frog King on the second try. PS, by the way.
And a big shout out to the developers behind Death's Door, actually smashing through kind of 5 million not units, 5 million in profit in the opening week. Absolutely insane. It's their most successful game to date, and that is a game that launched on one platform, and a platform that probably people didn't think would be able to sell that much. And look at how well it's doing. One platform in Steam.
Death's Door?
Yeah.
Well, let me back end that, and I'll let you continue. The Ascent, its first 3 days, 5 million. Curve Digital reported that it's the most money they've ever made in the company's history on any launch. Curve Digital has been around for decades. So, FYI, you may not think that. Again, look at the game in front of you. This is running at 1080p. I put 56 hours. Sure, are there bugs like you're seeing? Like this particular part of the level didn't load up, so I couldn't get through these crates. Yeah, that sucks. But it didn't take away my enjoyment. And like I said, if you're going to cap for this game having bugs, then we have to see the same energy come for Returnal, which still has bugs, and that released months ago. So I'm just saying, let's keep it 100, folks. Let's keep it 100.
And not only that, but I mean, and I always give this is something that I do as well. I give a lot more empathy for an independent studio creating a game like this, especially with the publicity this game has had. That is released with bugs, and they're still trying to iron through it. A 12-man team.
Yes.
Than I would a AAA studio with several hundred staff and a mountain of budget. I give far more empathy and time and space to get these things corrected and fixed than I do a AAA studio. We give Cyberpunk and we give CD Projekt Red the same flack as well for the state that that game launched in, and rightly so. That studio should not have released that game in the way that it did. But on another note for them, the developers knew it shouldn't have released, and that was a decision above their heads. Of course, it came out to the light that was the case. But in terms of other games that release in those states, again, unfortunately, I think on Returnal's part, that was put well beyond them. That wasn't a game that should have been given the same, should we say, breathing or same status as one of these Sony greats. It should not have been put up onto that mantle for that kind of criticism. And again, them developers, that was their first big game. So I still give major props to them for getting that game out. It's still their vision. Again, it's got bugs, like the Ascent does. It has bugs. Give these teams and these developers the right kind of space to get these things corrected. Unfortunately, these big studios, these big AAA teams, these big AAA bosses, and unfortunately Sony on this case when it comes to Returnal, are putting some of these games on a massive mantle and then leaving them to die on a hill. Returnal's one of those that kind of just left them to kind of fix it and didn't say anything about it. They didn't really try to fix it in the problem either. In terms of Deathloop being the only game to come out for Sony this holiday, the problem they've got primarily for me, and always has been since launch, is that I don't see the breadth in their first-party team to pump out enough games over the coming years, enough to carry Sony throughout this generation, unless they do something significant, which is invest into more first-party studios. And that's just unfortunate. The matter of fact is Xbox have really invested in these studios, and it isn't just for now, because people are just looking at them and expecting them to produce now. But this is investment in the future. Sony haven't invested in the future. Most recently, they've got Housemarque on board. Again, as we know, Returnal, terrific. So they've got one more developer in there, which will now be given the backing to make an actual full AAA game without the worry of financials behind them. Secondly, they've invested in Nixxes, but Nixxes aren't going to be creating them.
Yeah, they're going to do the PC stuff
PC ports.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is opening up another revenue angle for them. Brilliant. But is that going to solve their first-party studio issue that they're going to have for the remainder of the generation? When Xbox is starting to get into the role of things and they're releasing a game every quarter, if not a game every 2 months.
Again, it's funny you say that, because Microsoft had talked about that. Wanting to release a AAA bomb every quarter. People said I mean, I remember reading the comments. It's impossible. They can't do that, folks. I think they are going to do it. No,
100%. And this is what Sony have to unfortunately look to compete against. And this is if they're looking at not just specifically the console market, where Sony is focused on. Yes, they're going to bring things over to PC, but PC, as big as the platform is, there's only a very small subset of people on PC that are purchasing these titles. Yes, it's going to increase your revenues, of course it is, but it's also not the largest market. Xbox have pinned down every avenue they possibly can. So they've looked at, right, mobile, how do we get into mobile? Cloud, there we go. Tick, there's millions of gamers. And you're going on PC, right, okay, there's that subset gone. It's not only on Game Pass, but it's also on Steam. Tick, there's 2 gone. Right, okay. And then we've got console as well. And now it's on PC in another version. So now not only are you going to be able to play it on PC on Steam, but you can also play it on cloud. So if your computer's not good enough to download these games, you can cloud stream them on your PC. Terrific. Next, previous gen console owners, you can't afford to get a next gen console? No problem. We're going to put cloud on your old gen console so you can play these next gen games on your old gen. Brilliant. There you go. So you're not left behind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they've cornered every avenue to go forward with the generation to make sure that everybody possible will invest in Game Pass.
You know, it's funny, on top of everything you've already said, Dutch, and I just want to add to the conversation, is that you forgot to say that come this holiday, when people are buying new TVs, Xbox Game Pass is going to be on an application, and we're still hearing that there's going to be like one of those plug and play devices, kind of like an Apple TV, but for Xbox, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to help them be a little bit more of a native streaming thing, because as we know, these new TVs are great, but what they don't have is a very good internal CPU.
Right.
They're running quite old mobile chips within there, and they're not always high end. They are pretty sluggish at the best of times when you're trying to navigate them. So when you're trying to get into these things, I mean, what Xbox probably want to do with that streaming stick is just to make that a little bit more streamlined. Once you've got onto the app, terrific, it works a bit better. You've got your controller, connects to it nice and easy. It's not so sluggish, moves around very easily. That's going to be a really easy investment as well. I would probably hazard a doubt that that streaming stick's probably going to be the cost of a Fire Stick. You're talking probably about $50 or something like that. It's not going to be expensive. But the point is, and this is not just for this holiday, but for the coming, not only next year, the year after, Sony need to find a way of increasing that first-party output, and soon, because if they don't, that's what's going to start biting them in the arse.
Yeah.
And this is coming from somebody who does invest in all platforms, and I want the reason to say, right, I am definitely getting this play. I'm definitely going to make sure I'm going to do my best to get a PlayStation, because right now, yes, I want to get a PlayStation 5, put it on the shelf, modify it like I do with every console. But have I got the undying need to own a PlayStation 5 right now? No. Do I want Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart? Yeah, brilliant. I'll play it at some point. But is Kena coming out for both consoles? Yes, it is. Terrific. So I don't have to play it. Am I going to get Iki Island on PlayStation 4 Pro? Yeah, terrific. So I don't have to wait for that. What am I missing out on by getting a PlayStation 5? DualSense controls. You know what I've got in the back? A DualSense that I connect to my PC and I can play on the PC and use those DualSense features. Am I missing out? No. So what is the reason for me to invest in a PlayStation 5 right now? Unfortunately, not much. There is no big reason for me to invest in that. And outside of your hardcore majority, is there going to be enough for the casuals to invest in that going forward? Are they going to look at Deathloop and say, right, okay, is that game exclusive to PlayStation? I'm going to be able to get that anywhere else. And the guy in the store is going to say, well, yeah, it is exclusive to PlayStation until next year, and then Xbox will have it. Right, okay, so what ones are exclusive to PlayStation right now? Spider-Man, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, Godfall. Everyone forgets about Godfall. Jesus. Yeah, Godfall.
And Demon Souls also.
Demon Souls, yeah. But another remaster.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things. Such a
quick aside to your point right there. Even between the AAA, AA, indies, whatever, even if none of them, both Xbox or PlayStation, release anything now, Xbox still has 23 scheduled releases before the end of 2021.
Yep.
23 games
23
scheduled
games
to release.
Yep.
And I've gone through and removed the ones that have been released, removed the ones that have been delayed. There's still 23 games coming up. The new show we're going to see from Xbox coming up in this August. They've already come out and said they're not announcing anything new. There's still potential to hear from 23 games, including the Gunk, the one I'm totally excited for.
Yes, the Gunk, Scorn. There's quite a few of them. Yeah.
Crossfire X, which we learned, of course, is still releasing this year.
There you go. So 23 games. That's without any first-party influence at all. There you go.
Yeah, so definitely something to be said. I mean, listen, you completely knocked it out of the park, Dutch. Let's get our Tempest Son's opinion on this. Tempest, listen, you're a multiplayer guy. We know that for sure. But it is pretty interesting and worthy of a conversation. At least I thought so, to position tonight's show around it. That the biggest PlayStation exclusive is going to come at the hands of a Microsoft published title, and like I said, coming on the bookends of MLB The Show releasing for the Xbox for the first time in Game Pass, which is still, I mean, it's pretty shocking that 6 million players played MLB The Show through Game Pass, and 2 million of them purchased. Now, I don't know the numbers for Sony because to me, it's an irrelevant conversation. It's funny that when you bookend 2021, it almost seems like a year of the Twilight Zone, where it opened up with Sony having to bend the knee to put this game because they were going to lose the rights if they didn't. And of course, on the end of the year, their biggest exclusive that's not a first party for the end of the year like they normally have is coming at the hands of a Microsoft published title. What are your thoughts on that? Tempest, you there?
Oh, sorry. I thought I unmuted myself. First of all, I just want to say that this gameplay is fire, dude.
Oh, yeah, dude.
like seriously, like I knew I was going to play it, but
dude,
now I really have to finish Scarlet
is
Nexus so I can. This is my
good.
next game.
I mean,
Yeah.
just look at the world. And
Yeah.
by the way, I specifically kept these pants to match my. I know it sounds ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous.
I had higher pants, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be wearing slacks with badass armor like that. I'm not doing it.
Listen. This is like there's one truth.
I have 4 arms.
Everybody knows that fashion is the true end game to almost every game. All right. So anyway, yeah, dude. I mean, what can you say? Was it going to be an Xbox first party when Sony struck the deal? You know, I don't know, but it is funny, and it's not just this. Next year they have Ghostwire Tokyo as well, which is also owned by Xbox. So 2 games of theirs is going to be Xbox games. So yeah, it is funny. I don't know at this point, listening to everybody, speak on the matter. I don't have a PS5 yet, and I kind of want Sony to sell one to me, and I don't really, see that happening. To me, the reason why I like a lot of Sony's products, honestly, do like the Vita. I loved the Vita. The Vita to me is the greatest handheld like ever made. I'm stacking that up against the Switch. I honestly am. The thing's amazing. They had the freaking OLED.
For me.
Yeah, they had the old. Yeah, they had the OLED like 8 years ago or 9 years ago when it launched, whatever. And I just, to me, I feel like they lost not their identity. I mean, companies can change and evolve, but I identified them as the console that would give me games I just couldn't get anywhere else. They really felt like that Japanese company that I can only get those games there. That's it, And I don't feel that way anymore. In fact, they closed down their Japan studio. Maybe rightfully so. Maybe it wasn't making that kind of money, but then is that just bad management? I don't know. But to me, they don't have like an identity that like resonates with me, So I need them to sell me on that. Eventually they might do so. But in the meantime, I personally don't see a reason. Like a couple members on this panel said they bought their PS5 and it's collecting dust.
Oh yeah,
I don't need a $500 dust collector, man. Like my shelves do that perfectly fine without it. So I don't know. I just I want them to. I don't know. Like I actually want them to do good. I'm not sitting here, hoping Sony does terrible, because if they do, it's just less variety, less options. You know what I mean? Less opportunities. So I don't know. I kind of miss the good old PS2, later on in the PS3 generation. I just kind of miss that. And I don't think we're going to get it maybe ever again. At least not what I'm looking for personally. So I don't know. It's a little, I guess, disappointing overall. So I don't know. I guess that's all my thoughts on the matter. I mean, everybody else pretty much killed it. So,
well, I mean, listen, this has been a great show. I know that there were some detractors in the chat that didn't like some of the fun and games we were having. I mean, listen, I
was serious, but sorry.
What's that?
I said I was serious.
Well, I mean, listen, you can be serious, and you know what? There is a lot of truth to what we talked about. I don't think anyone made anything up. I think people get in their feels for their brand of plastic very easily. I personally don't care. I mean, when Xbox was getting it every day from every angle, even from the gaming media, who decided to pile up on the rabbit, it was fun, right? It was. Yeah,
really nobody stood up then.
Yeah. It was a great conversation then. And every podcast was Xbox sucks, dump Phil, dump Aaron, right? Pack it in, right? And now, listen, you have to, if you're going to be in this in the playground, be expected to get your knees dirty because you're playing in the mud. And right now, we had a little fun with it. Again, if you got you got defended in some way, well, then maybe this isn't the show for you.
Can I iterate on something else too?
Please, by all means.
I see through all the latest shows lately, I feel like Sony realized that they focused way too hard on one thing and one thing only. And they did it very, very well. And it garnered them all sorts of love and praise, pretty decent sales, you name it. People have come to expect those Sony style, over the shoulder style games. It seems like they're putting a lot of their money towards these multiplayer focused games. And I say, good, they needed to do this. Not enough people called them out for not having that. I worry that it's just too late. I worry that it's simply just too late. I feel like so much of their audience doesn't focus on that because they didn't train them to focus on that type of thing, right? And on the flip side, I don't think Xbox has really ever lost that. And they're going to be getting just as many or more multiplayer style games. So I just feel like they're going to be chasing this money-making machine, which is these multiplayer games that have microtransactions and things like that in there. What happens if those don't take off because their player base isn't accustomed to playing those games? We're already seeing PlayStation numbers go down as far as users, PS Plus subscribers, things of that nature. So I'm sitting here saying these things like, what are they going to do? But it's like an honest question from me. Like, where do they go from here, especially if these future endeavors don't pan out the way that they're hoping they will? Like, what does Sony do? Like, I don't know. I don't have the answers.
Well, I will say this. If you go just completely based on numbers, 15% of the 114, let's just say 115 million, right? PlayStation 4s that sold, 15% of that. And if you really want to let your hair down and run on the edge of madness and say 20% of those 115 million were hardcore, the rest of those were 85+% was the casual, and the casuals bought the PlayStation 4 because it was what their friends at the water coolers were talking about. If I remember correctly, they had what was it, $149 PlayStation 4 with Spider-Man, right? I mean, that's as an impulse buy as you can get. They're not going to have that this year. You can't find a PlayStation 5 now. The regular people, the only people that are out logistically, I put it to this way, if you went out of your way to follow like Wario 64 or even like a D-Batch, for instance, from RDX, he always throws, hey, they're over here, go get it, go crazy. Or Gaming Forte when they're at his store, or he knows at GameStop, he throws a link in there. If you're somebody that's following these dudes, you're not a casual, folks. I don't know what sliding scale of hardcore you are, but you care enough to put the time and investment into getting yourself a PlayStation 5 like I did and Kay did.
The moment you step into the Twitter gaming community is the moment you're no longer a casual.
I agree 100%. But I mean,
but boom, I think you hit on something there too. The same thing, Dutch. Like, if you are able, what kind of like craziness you have to go through to get any one of these consoles, but it's even more crazy just because there are more people that are trying to get a PS5 right now. There's no way casuals are keeping their ear to the street the way you have to in order to get another console. I've been trying to get another PS5 for the bedroom since December, and I haven't been able to get it. Right, and I'm my ears to the street every day. So I think you are onto something there. The people right now in year one, especially with this level of demand and the FOMO that's going on, those are the hardcores right now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Now listen, again, this has been a great show. We hit two topics, two very, very spicy topics. If you enjoyed it, awesome. Hit the like button. If you didn't, well, you know what? Hit the thumbs down button and leave me a filthy message, because a lot of people do. But real quick, we had a super chat from JR Pole. Drops a very generous $5 super chat and says this: the console war fodder around the Hellblade upgrade is just stupid. It's I just would have preferred a 1440p/60 with ray tracing mode rather than 120 frames per second mode. I mean, listen, I think what they offered for the price of free was awesome. They really gave you if you had the TV to take advantage of it, there was 3 massive options for you. For me, like I said, that particular game does not need 60. For me, the way I play it, it's a cinematic experience with some combat, so I'm okay with the bells and whistles for looks and 30 frames. But again, that's me. Tempest Son, we're gonna get you out of here, brother.
Yeah.
You got to run. Tell everyone about your channel, bro, and where could people reach out to you on social media?
Yeah, my gamer tag is Tempest Sun. You can find me on Twitter at the Tempest Sun. I'm finally back to building, recording video. I'm going to be back at it again. Feels good. So now I just have to manage that and still find time to play games. Fun.
Yes.
But yeah, you can reach my guys there. I'm always down to talk to people and have a good time. Thanks, guys. It's been a good show. Thank you, panel, and Neo Mental Man. Good to be on a show with you. And I'll see everybody later.
Yeah, take care, brother. And the second super chat comes in to us from Brett Bingham. Drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Theory: Xbox will formally announce the Kojima deal at Gamescom or Tokyo Game Show as the ultimate gauntlet backhand to Sony's face." I think you're onto something with that. I don't know. I mean, Tokyo Game Show seems more likely because obviously them signing Kojima for what I have heard has been multiple games, not just the one he's currently working on, is, of course, they want to garner that Japanese audience. And obviously, Project X Cloud, or of course, Xbox Cloud Gaming, as it's called, is doing very well in those regions, both in Korea and in Japan, for that matter. So bringing him up on the stage and letting him go and do his thing, and potentially, because he's good on putting these trailers together. I don't know how far he was in the game when he was going to do this for Stadia, because you remember Sony passed on this. He went to Stadia. Stadia took a dump, and now he's at Xbox. So we saw Death Stranding's trailer years before the game came out. Could we see that now for Xbox? We don't know. But listen, Neo Mental, thanks so much for being here, brother. I know you got to get up super early for work. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media, potentially be booed, and also maybe hit you up for a game on Xbox Live or PSN.
It's Neo Mental wherever you find me. Yeah, listen, man. I'm out here playing my ball. Don't bother me. I mean, if you want smoke, it's all good. If not, hey, listen, say hi, have a conversation.
Keep it moving.
And keep moving. It's all good. I'm your favorite non-podcasting podcaster.
Yes. Well, listen, we definitely appreciate you being here, brother. Always great to podcast with you. Obviously, you're my brother, so that's super, super cool. And yeah, definitely, brother. We'll be talking to you. Thank you so much for being here. Kay Asante, why don't you spill the beans on where can people check out the Real podcast, where you guys talk about movie stuff, but also it's actually on The Real, as it's called. You also got to talk about your Saturday show that seems to be blowing up. I happened to be a part of that a couple of weeks ago. It was great. Love to see people tuning in each and every Saturday. Talk about that, brother, and where could people reach out to you on social media?
I appreciate it, Boom. Thank you so much. And yes, Neo Mental, it was good podcasting with you, sir. I appreciate your takes. You need to get on the podcast train more. I appreciate hearing you speak on that. It's good. It's real good. You should do that more of it.
Thank you, sir.
I hope Boom lets you back on the network again soon.
Oh, he's got a golden ticket. He knows that. He got the golden ticket.
Yes, and of course, my other panelists. It's always cool chatting it up with you guys. We do it on the back end. We're going to continue doing that.
Pause.
Thank you guys so much. Apologies.
I was going to say that too.
Christ.
Pause. He got this started, and I refuse to continue down that path, but he always gets me. Anyway, TKO Asante
I can
on
say
Twitter.
it again, but I'm not.
No, you're not. Move on. On Twitter. Move on Twitter. Last week we had a really great show on the Gaming Circle podcast. My boy Mashana was able to join us.
Yes.
With Everborn, we had a really good conversation. You know, a lot of cool inside stories from the gaming industry. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, you can always do that. I appreciate all those who have followed the YouTube channel and have subscribed. The channel has found itself a lot more audience, and I'm so appreciative of the chat and my panelists and all those folks who help me get there. So thank you so much. Let us do the same for Mr. Everborn Saga, so a lot of people can see On the Reel on Thursdays at 8:00 when we do that. The slander levels are really high. If you enjoy us there, you'll definitely want to catch us on the Reel, and that's definitely on Thursdays on Everborn Saga's channel. So again, you can find me on Twitter, TKO Asante, strike up a conversation. You follow me, I follow you back, and I appreciate everybody who joined. And we'll probably see you guys on Thursday on the Reel. There should be some slanderous conversation.
Yeah, there is. Listen, I'm looking forward to it.
Suicide Squad. So
I mean, listen, if you missed out on Suicide Squad, it is by far, at least in my opinion, one of the best DCEU movies. Great ending. Obviously,
I'm not happy with John Cena's character. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, I mean, listen. Well, you're gonna have.
Say.
Okay, I mean, listen. I'm looking forward to the conversation. Unfortunately, you're getting 8 episodes of John Cena more.
It makes you wonder sometimes, right? Where they greenlight a show before the show ends.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I would have rather. Yeah. I would have rather have seen Idris Elba, character. I'd rather see,
or even the rat catcher.
The rat
catcher, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, listen, again, to each is everyone's own. My biggest problem with the DCEU is that there's too many cooks in the kitchen right now, and there's no order to the madness, which is why Marvel is better and DC is always in second place. But that's force of another color.
It's not the chefs; it's the owners.
The owners are terrible. There's no doubt about
it's like
that.
Death Row over there.
It really is like Death Row. But you know what, Everborn Saga, let's talk about your brand, and also where could people reach out to you and potentially throw some slander your way and pause?
Everborn Saga everywhere. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, PlayStation, Xbox, Steam. Everborn Saga also on YouTube. Please go over there and check that out. It is not only on the Reel that is there every week at Thursday with me and Kay Asante at 8:00. But everything we're doing there, all the trailers for the upcoming comic books, all the play tests that I do for the game development for the game we're working on, we do it all there. It is everything Everborn related is on that channel. So please check it out, and you'll be the first to see all the animations that we do and everything else. And obviously, like I said, Everborn Saga on Twitter. I'm very active, and I try to follow everyone back who follows me. But the most important place you can find me is everbornsaga.com, where you can get into the world of Everborn, which is 1 story, 2 timelines, and 4 series following different characters, all telling the story from their vantage point. If you've seen anybody retweet some of the books, we try to put out really high quality stuff. It is the amalgamation of sort of manga and Western comics, and it's just a love letter to all the things that I love. So please check out everbornsaga.com. You can see everything we got going on there: animations, game stuff, wall art, comics, everything. So it's we're trying to build a movement here. But that will be better than DC.
Yes, I like that.
But Everborn Saga, every place. I'm, every Saturday with Kay Asante, 10 a.m. Gaming Circle, and every Thursday on the Reel, and every Monday, 7 p.m. primetime gaming, baby.
Definitely appreciate you being here, and of course,
and hit the like button before you go.
Hit the damn like button if you don't mind. Nightwolf 3186 drops a very generous $5 super chat. Nightwolf, how the hell are you, bro? He says, been a while since I caught a live show. Missed your boom and panel. Hope everyone is doing well. Yes, indeed we are, and we hope that you are doing well. This is the man that not only had the 1-year anniversary, but he had 1,000 subscribers on his amazing YouTube channel, and he is on his march to 2K, folks. If you're not subscribed to the Wandering Dutch, then man, what the hell are you doing? What, Dutch? Tell everyone where they can check out your channel, subscribe to the best beard in the business, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Yeah, certainly. Again, thankfully, I've smashed through that 1,000 subscriber mark now. So huge thanks to everybody who has come through and followed us since then, subscribed to us, etc. I was looking forward to jumping into this whole Twitch hosting Xbox indie event again because I just had to show them how it was done last time around and got our awesome community creator.
Dude, I was a part of that. And that was amazing. Listen, I don't know what your schedule looks like. I think we're going to get into it potentially tomorrow. If you want to jump in for a hot minute, talk about it. All I can say is, folks, listen, I know that was advertised as one of the topics. We only have so much time in a 2-hour show. I will say this, Dutch. What can't happen is the nightmare scenario that happened the last time, where it was a 4-hour program, and the problem was the presentation, the announcers. They seemed like it was almost a bother to be there. Some of them probably only used their Xbox for Netflix or something like that because they seemed very uneducated to what they were doing. And if again, as someone who really, really appreciates the indie community in the biggest way possible, you do them no favors by doing what you did the last time. I know my people from Microsoft listen to this show all the time. Please keep it to a 90-minute show.
It's already confirmed as 3.5 hours.
Well, there you go.
Here's the thing. I think it can still work if they put the games up front and then do the
development stuff on the end.
Yeah, exactly. Right after, and then the people can stay for the games that they want to see, and you can hop back in. And it's in
3.5 hours.
Yeah, like people got jobs, or maybe they don't. But
well, I had just to put it in perspective, I had 2.5 hours on the show we created last time. Had 2 developers doing personal kind of segmentations for their games, including Joe from Song of Iron and Thomas Salah for the Falconeer.
Yeah.
We had Kiz, Will of the Masks, also provide a free code to give away as part of that. So we had developers involved in that show, but I also showcased in 2.5 hours 75 indie titles.
Wow.
Either out now or coming out soon or early in development. So I give a good showcase to everybody. That goes from the smallest of the small one-man teams all the way up to kind of 20, 30, 40-man independent studios. So everybody had a showcase, including some that jumped into the chat and were just buzzing that their little game that they've been working on by themselves for months on end had even been showcased at all. And that's what we're looking to do, is really just bring that showcase again going forward. So I'm not really expecting much from Twitch in terms of their presentation skills. I think Xbox have took a massive gamble after the last time to allow them to do that. I think they got a lot of backlash last time from there was a certain subset of people, of course, and naturally everybody's got their own opinions that did like hearing about some of these games, but some games didn't need to be divulged into for 30-minute segments, like a fishing game. Like it's like great that you've got them on, but give them a little 5-minute segment, and then at the end of that 5-minute segment, say, right, okay, you can learn more about this game at the end of the showcase.
Yes,
we'll have them on
great
again.
Point.
Terrific. Yep. But yeah, by the by, I will be doing another indie showcase myself. Again, because of the first success on the first one, that will be coming the beginning of next year again. Now we try to get enough indie titles, enough new and fresh indie titles in there, and keep an eye and speak to the developers throughout the year to make sure that there are games on there that you will not have seen as well. Or games that are literally going to be unveiled on the show. So fingers crossed, of course, everybody tunes in when that comes out. But you can find me, and again, thank you to this awesome panel, as always, every week. Awesome to speak to Neo Mental, Boom's brother, for the first time. Great to be on the panel with yourself, sir. Great opinions, great voice. Look forward to hopefully podcasting with you again in the future. Again, likewise, Everborn, awesome opinions, awesome points, as always. Take your Asante, absolutely awesome to see your channel smash through that 100 subscriber mark, brother.
Appreciate your help.
We gotta get you to 1,000. Now it's 1,000. Now we gotta push.
Yeah, next one. Next one.
The
Let's
hill
bump it
is
up.
high. I'm climbing. Let's go.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. And again, Boom, awesome hosting as always with us. Some really good topics that did need to be covered. And again, an amazing chat. For the most part, this chat is always awesome. There's always the occasional suspect in there that likes giving the run around, but I'm sure we all put them in their place. Awesome chat as always, though. Thank you to everybody who stopped by. Everybody, drop a like if you haven't already. Make sure to like and share this out. Spread the good word. Thank you as always, and we will see you all again next week. Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that our dad taught us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And, oh, you know what? Real quick, shameless plug. Tomorrow, we're having industry investigator Sculsey on the Xbox Factor podcast. Now, if that name does not ring a bell, it should, because he has dropped monster scoops. And he is reporting that he has heard from his source that apparently Microsoft and Bethesda are building a studio to, in fact, bring back older IPs. Now, it's funny that I'm having him on the show, because just last Thursday we specifically talked about that before knowing this information. So he actually has the name of what he thinks the studio is going to be. Tune in tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's right, industry investigator Skulls is going to be joining us. And it's going to be a great show, because obviously maybe he'll drop a nugget or two. I don't know. First time I'm working with him, but looking forward to having him on the show. But take care, everyone. Have a great evening. Enjoy gaming on whatever you enjoy gaming. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.